Well, hello everyone. And hi, Ronnie. You know, what an honor it is for me to speak about you today, my dear friend. But you know, I have to talk about the Ronnie I know and I love. My first experience with Ronnie was at a Toronto hotel. That sounds bad. Let me continue. When he was headlining the showroom and our young R&B band were playing the dance club down the hall. We all snuck in between sets to hear Ronnie play in the band, and we were just blown away. We said to ourselves, we better do our homework. Thanks to you, Hazel, too. Do our homework. Anyways, the next morning on our way to breakfast, we followed this trail of empty beer and whiskey cases, some broken furniture and assorted clothing. And we asked the staff what happened, and they said, Rompin' Ronnie had a party. I officially met Ronnie, though, in the mid-'80s when he was playing the Royal York's Imperial Room, and the maitre d', my dear father, Louis Janetta, introduced us. Unbeknownst to me, my dad had slipped Ronnie's manager my first album, and as a favor, he had taken it to the Midem Festival in France. He came back with some offers and asked if he could manage me. Now, I had my own band, but my Rock and Roll 101 initiation was the honor of being a backup singer for Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks, and what a ride that was. The cast of characters that surrounded Ronnie at any given time left me gasping in awe or sometimes running for cover. Everybody wanted Ronnie. When he wasn't performing for presidents, headlining shows in Europe or at Massey Hall, he'd work with some of the greatest artists and musicians in the world, and I luckily got to meet them. Countless shows, from playing Farm Aid with Gordon Lightfoot and Burton Cummings to Edmonton's Klondike Days with Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Chubby Checker, to starring at the Mississauga Board of Trade Gala, where Ronnie asked me to sing a song. And the applause was pretty loud for this hometown girl. Then he jokingly whispered into the mic, "That might be the last time you get a solo, darling." I never knew who would show up to see Ronnie. Bob Dylan one night, Garth Hudson playing keys the next. But how thrilled I was to join Ronnie and Bo Diddley for a triple bill on the Imperial Room stage. Ronnie announced to the sold-out room, "You better not get too close to Patty. Her daddy's in the mafia." Remember? We were playing our annual New Year's Eve gig at Nathan Phillips Square, live on City TV. That year, the show was sponsored by the fur industry, and we were wearing very expensive coats. I'm sure you remember that, Wanda. Something smelled really bad, and we discovered Ronnie trying to get warm, standing really close to a stage heater, and when we looked, his fur coat was on fire. What a commotion on live TV yet. We laughed so hard it hurts. You know, so many memories, but it would take me a year up here to tell you even a few of them. But I have to mention that a group of us got to lobby Parliament, went on a bus, you know, Burton Cummings, Randy Bachman, a whole bunch of us, all the way to Ottawa, and we actually changed the copyright law in Canada for all Canadian musicians, and that law still stands today. But most of us figured it was the way Mr. Charming sweet-talk Flora MacDonald. You know, friends came from everywhere to toast the good times. Sorry. A few years ago, Ronnie and his beautiful wife, Wanda, hosted the last hurrah. They were moving from the place that held precious memories for them, their family, and so many of us. Friends came from everywhere to toast the good times. People like Jim Cuddy, the Weber brothers, Robbie Lane, and his longtime buddy, Chris Christopherson. A litany of artists who had learned so much from a man who'd given his heart and soul to music and launched the careers of countless musicians who went on to their own fame and fortune. As Ronnie took to the stage to sing a rousing rendition of Who Do You Love, reunited with cherished pals and a few of us Hawkettes, including B.J. Cook and Beverly D'Angelo, it struck me, we all love you, Ronnie. Just look at the many lives you've touched, the mass of people in front of us that day, here today, and everywhere. We're only a small token. Thank you for everything you've done for the Canadian music industry. And congratulations, Ronnie Hawkins, our Mr. Dynamo, on your induction into the Legends Row Walk of Fame. Thank you. And now let's see some more about Ronnie Hawkins.
Ronnie Hawkins was born in Huntsville, Arkansas in 1935, just 2 days after Elvis Presley. Known affectionately over the years as Mr. Dynamo and the Hawk, his love of music started in high school. He formed the first version of his band, the Hawks, while studying at the University of Arkansas in the 1950s. In 1958, on the recommendation of Conway Twitty, who considered Canada to be the promised land for a rock and roll singer, Hawkins came to Hamilton, Ontario to play a club called the Golden Rail Tavern. He never left. Adopting Canada as his home, Hawkins became a permanent resident in 1964 and quickly was crowned the King of Yonge Street.
The word on the street was they were the most badass group.
In 1958, his hit, Hey, Bo Diddley, was released. This was followed by Marylou, which turned Hawkins into a teenage idol.
I'm going to tell you a story about a Marylou. I mean the kind of a woman make a fool of you. She make a young man groan and an old man pain. The way she took my money was a crying shame. Marylou, she took my diamond ring.
Over the years, Hawkins gained recognition for recruiting and grooming outstanding Canadian talent. The membership of his band, the Hawks, kept changing as the talent flowed in and out. One edition of the Hawks, with Canadians Richard Manuel, Garth Hudson, Robbie Robertson, Rick Danko, and drummer Levon Helm, a fellow musician from Arkansas, moved on to become Bob Dylan's backup band and later achieved superstardom as the Band.
I'd sure love to be with them just one more time, talking about days gone by. I don't know, but I've been told those days we were walking, they were solid gold. And Lord, we could carry such a heavy load, walking in days gone by. I don't know if people heard me.
Another incarnation became Janis Joplin's Folk Tilt Boogie Band, and another, Robbie Lane and the Disciples.
The purpose of a man is to love a woman, and the purpose of a woman is to love a man.
At the height of the 1960s peace movement, Hawkins invited John Lennon and Yoko Ono to his Mississauga farm, adjacent to the now UTM, during the couple's peace crusade.
There's Dolly Parton.
Oh, she's sweet as a mother's love.
Yeah.
And this down here, of course, that's John and Yoko and Dick Gregory, when they stayed with me for a couple of weeks at my house.
So what was that like, having John Lennon and Yoko Ono in the house, Tom?
Well, it was, as I look
They were
back,
pretty freaky people.
different for me. One day, one morning, and of course it was Yoko down there doing that high, whatever that shit is. And I woke up and said, I've heard that sound before. What is that? What is it? And it's me being a country boy.
Yeah.
You know, when I was little, when they'd raise them hogs up and denut them, that's the squeal that you heard from that hog. It sounded just like it, man. I couldn't.
That was Yoko down the kitchen.
Yeah.
In 1992, he performed at the inauguration party of former President Bill Clinton, one of the Hawks' biggest fans. Hawkins won a Juno for Best Country Male Vocalist in 1984 for his hit Making It Again. In 1996, the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences honored him with the Walt Grealisk Special Achievement Award for his contribution to developing Canada's music industry. In November 2007, Ronnie was honored with the SOCAN Special Achievement Award. This award is given to individuals who have greatly contributed to Canada's music industry over the course of their careers. Additional honors came in 2002 with his induction on Canada's Walk of Fame. 2004 was the Canadian Music Industry Hall of Fame. In 2012, Mississauga's Music Walk of Fame welcomed Ronnie to their assembly. And in 2013, he was made an honorary officer of the Order of Canada.
I would describe myself as just a lifelong fanatic rock and roller. That's all I ever wanted to be, ever since I can remember, since I was 16, 17 years old. I just wanted to be a rock and roller. I had 2.5 decades of the most fun you could ever have, no matter who you were. I wouldn't have traded places with the Rolling Stones or the Beatles or Elvis or anybody.
Wow. And to present the Legends Row Award to fanatic rock and roller, our wonderful Mississauga legend, Ronnie Hawkins. Would you please welcome Ward 6 Mississauga Councillor, our dear friend, the one and only as well, Ron Starr.
You don't have to stand.
I'll say, oh, am I on? I've chased too many girls, folks. My legs are gone. And that over there, that's one of them in that green jacket right there. What am I supposed to say, folks? I don't know nothing. Goodness gracious. I know after all this publicity I'm getting, if I ever get a job, I want to ask for a raise immediately, if not sooner. But I tell you what, folks, I have had, without a doubt, the greatest time in this area right here that anybody in the world could have. They said I had a lot of fun. I don't even remember. But I'll tell you what, there's one of my girlfriends over in that green jacket. Well, I'll tell you what, Hazel. That Hazel has done some stuff, folks. I'm telling you. I can't go into it, I don't think, but what I love about her, they started playing the national anthem of Canada, and there were some kids, boys, making noise and stuff. She stopped it and chewed their asses out like you would not believe, and I was tickled to death, boy, I'm telling you, because it needed to be done. But I'll tell you what, I was always in love with her, though. She knows things that kings and queens ain't even read about. Oh, boy. What am I supposed to say here now?
Yeah, keep going.
Can we tell them about that wild party you had?
Yeah, the stars in the credit. You and Hazel were dancing.
You know, she give me out. She'd driven all the way from California or somewhere way off, been on the road, spent all that time, and got me on the dance floor, and I like to have died. I'm telling you what, she's got more energy, more strength than anybody I know. I'll tell you what, if I was 6 months younger, I'd be after you. Folks, thank you very much, Mississauga. There ain't nobody had more fun than people in Mississauga.